Alright, today's discussion or rant, or whatever you want to call it, I call them rants, but that's besides the point, is on Leah Plante. And in the past, like, 3 or 4 days, I've been hearing a ton of stuff about her, but not quite enough to base my understanding and decision on it. And it has to do with her being an anarchist and her not wanting to stand in front of a grand jury because of accusations of something that she didn't have anything to do with, and it goes into a whole conspiracy, but I'll get into that later. But first I want to talk about anarchy. And before I do, most of you may be like, I kinda know about anarchy, I kinda don't, but I'll read you the definition then and explain how I feel and how it pertains to me. But anarchy, there are ton of meanings, and basically, I'll just read it to you. In the United States, the term anarchy is typically used to refer to a society without a publicly enforced government or violently enforced political authority. Now, to me, that means that someone doesn't want to be controlled by the government. And I guess that's an okay belief to have, but there are a lot of things that the government does to help us in a lot of ways. And I'm not saying that I don't have problems with the government. I mean, I certainly do, but I think that anarchists have a lot of valid points and good ideas. Now, the way that I see anarchy isn't like having to do with cops or anything like that. It has to do with more of government officials telling you how you can live your life and how you should live your life and that kind of stuff. And that kind of stuff bugs me. I feel that nobody should be able to tell me how I'm going to live my life and how I can better my life other than me. Now, I'm not saying that I hate the government or feel that we shouldn't be democratic or anything like that. I just feel like I should have more control over my life. But this isn't even about me. I'll go back to the topic of Leah Plante. Well, she was sitting in her house, I guess, and cops, SWAT, and FBI agents crashed the door down and held her and her 2 friends hostage. Well, not hostage. They held her and her 2 friends under their control, reading them the search warrant that said that they had, the 3 people in the house had, connections to some some, I don't want to call it a gathering, but like a protest in like May, and basically there was some windows broken, and they want them arrested, and she claims to not have been there, and so do the other 2, and the FBI and the government wants her to be in a grand jury, and she doesn't want to speak in a grand jury, so that causes a problem with the raising suspicion of why wouldn't she talk in a grand jury, and it's simply because she doesn't want anything to do with the government. Now, when the cops and FBI agents went into the house, they didn't just take her out of the house. They took books, magazines, pictures, art, all this stuff, and they wanted to use it as evidence because it had anything to do with anarchy. And that would be fine if they had the warrant to do that. I didn't read into it, and I don't care. But basically what this comes down to is her 2 friends are in prison because they didn't want to speak in front of a grand jury. Now, that is a pretty big deal. I don't believe that it's right, but I'm also not siding with anarchists. I guess I really don't have a side on this topic, and it's pretty. A lot of people don't have any idea what's going on with Leah Plante, and basically what it boils down to is the government. She thinks the conspiracy that I referred to earlier. Basically, that is she thinks that the government is out to get rid of anarchists, and that would be a huge problem with me, because I believe that no matter who you are or what you believe in, you should still be treated the same, even though, like, for example, just because someone's Jewish or fat like me or whatever it may be, we shouldn't be treated differently because we're different. I believe that everyone should have their own opinions and beliefs on things, and it bugs me that if that were not just like a suspicion of hers, if that were what was actually happening, and it sounds like that's what's happening, because they have evidence that they weren't at the protest where the mirrors or the windows got broken, and I feel like that the government is trying to take and put in prison all the anarchists. And you know, I don't have a problem with anarchy. Like, if you don't like the government, then that's perfectly fine. But if you don't like the government and you're burning down churches and state buildings and that kind of stuff, that crosses the line. That I can understand why there would be a problem. Now, them sitting in their house and not having anything to do with the protest is a problem, and them going to jail for it. That is an obnoxious problem, and well, there hasn't been a whole lot on what is going to happen yet. So I guess I'm going to end this soon and come back to it when more information comes out. But I guess that's my rant video.